Hello and welcome to FTB Sports. This is your daily transfer news update special. We have some guests in the studio. We have Mike, we have Darius, we have Solo, all to discuss the few stories up and coming for Premiership January transfer window. Morning, guys. How are we doing? All right?
Morning.
Not bad.
Yeah,
Good.
All good.
Okay, so we'll start with the one that's on there on screen at the present time. Winger DEMARAI Gray to Spurs. We have a couple of Spurs fans. Oh, we have 3 Spurs fans, if you include myself in that as well, and a United fan. So I'll let one of you Spurs fans take that one if you want.
Go on, Mike.
No, leave me this one.
I'm having none of this one. Thank you very much.
I can't see this. Yeah, I can't see this happening. What will he bring to the Spurs side? He won't get in the first 11. He'd be a squad player at best. We don't need squad players. If we're gonna buy anyone or go for anyone, they need to improve that first 11. And Gray doesn't. He really doesn't fit that bill in my eyes in any way, shape, or form. I wouldn't even play him in our Europa squad. So,
do you think Spurs are looking at this from? Well, as I say, they're all rumours and they're all gossips, but there's got to be some sort of truth to it. Do you think Spurs could be looking at this from a business perspective? I don't know how old he is, but he must be early 20s.
He's
he can't
24,
be that old.
I believe. I'm just about
24.
to say, I think he's 24 years old.
Okay, so he's not like
24.
He's a youngster. He's not like a 19, 20-year-old. I don't know with this one. I just really can't understand why we would want to go for someone like this who doesn't offer a challenge to the first team. If he offered a challenge to the first team, I could kind of think, yeah, but he's not even getting in the Leicester squad. Is he still at Leicester? I don't even know if he's still at Leicester, but he is obviously. But I'm not seeing him. So why are we even touting this? It don't make no sense to me. But Darius, what you saying on this?
I think the reason why it's even being mentioned is the fact that it's a free. Is it a free in the summer or his contract running out? I believe that his contract runs out next summer. So thinking about Levy and what he would do, it seems like an Origi-esque signing where you sign a player who's 20 around, because Origi was a lot younger. He was about 19, 20 when they signed him. But you sign a player who's in the Premier League or around that sort of level, maybe not a starter, but will be able to bring a number. He just adds numbers. And I think that's not really necessary for us in the position that he plays as well. Maybe if it was a centre mid, I'd be like, yeah, adds a bit more depth. But Gray's he's just for me, he's just an average winger. And I don't really think we need an average winger.
And following on from that, I mean, if we were just looking to sign someone just for numbers, why not bring up someone from the youth squad, from the youth team, from the under-23s?
Exactly.
You've got Jack Clark. There's loads of them.
There's so many good players coming up.
So listen to this, just on this one. So I just had a bit of a research on it. There are supposed to be 4 teams interested in DEMARAI Gray: Everton, Southampton, and Crystal Palace, and us. So that kind of says it all. There's no other big boys in for this guy. He's 24. You could get him even if he's free, and then let's say you get him in January for like $3 million. I wouldn't pay anything like that. I wouldn't even pay that. If they may do that. It can only be a business deal. 24. Sign him up for a 3-year contract and potentially see if we can ship him out and make our money. I don't know. It don't feel right. Solo, I know you're smirking there. You're thinking to yourself, get him, buy him. What are you saying?
Sign him up. To be fair, I know what you guys are trying to say. He would come in the team, but where would you fit him in the team? I'm looking at it now as a Jose. That's a Jose deal. I think, to be honest with you, for him coming in, I believe Jose could get so much more out of the player, especially the style of football you guys play.
It make him look like a better player because
it make him look 100.
Defending.
Yeah, exactly. So for me,
Mike's not having this.
Nah,
He's not having it.
For me, I think, to be honest with you, he did really well last season. He can't get in a Leicester team at the moment, but I think if you get him, it would be a shrewd signing, and I think it would be something that Jose would look at because of the how you play.
You're trolling here now. You're being a troll.
Honestly,
you want us to get him so we can sabotage our club. I'm not having this. No. He is not going to threaten our first team. He's not even in the squad for Leicester. I'm not seeing him on the bench. I'm not seeing him come on.
He's not, but
season.
The reason he's not on the bench, he's been injured. That's the reason why he hasn't been on the bench. But for Leicester at the moment, because if you look at Leicester City, they've got about 4 or 5 key injury, and he's one of them as well.
Would you say he's a key part of that squad, though?
I honestly say, as a squad, for where Spurs are now, I would honestly say if I was if he was coming to United right now, I couldn't say he would get in the United team, to be honest with you.
He's not getting in our team. What are you talking about? He's not getting in our team.
I was going to say that.
You're crazy.
At the same time, I honestly believe that would be a Jose. That's right up Jose Street.
No way,
Jose
mate.
would come in and Jose would get him and get the best out of him. He's not a
That's
bad
pony.
player.
That's pony. I'm having that as pony, mate.
That is definitely pony. We've spent 5 minutes talking about this guy, and all I'm hearing is Solo trolling this one. And I'm going to make sure we've got the next story up, which we're now going to have an interest to you, Solo. So this one, let's have a look. Right now, let's see what we've got to say about this. Barcelona, Rashford. Oh, what are you saying now? Oh, yeah, he's a split part player. No, he's not. Let's have your first thoughts on this one then.
So, yeah, the rumours is going around at the moment. This is probably stemming back from last season, where Barcelona apparently was in for him. At first, I thought his performance, and once the rumour came in, I thought his performance and everything level drop at Man United. But listening to his interview last week, he's not leaving Man United for Barcelona anytime soon. He was talking about how Manchester United from like an 8-9-year-old helped him. So what they'll do is, because his mum basically didn't drive, they had to get the bus everywhere and the travel time as well. So what they used to do is they used to almost put him up in a foster home.
So you think he owes the club? You think he wouldn't leave because he owes the club?
He said it in his own word. He owes the club. He will never leave Man United unless Man United get rid of him.
I tell you what. If they offered him 350k, he might not owe the club much more after that. I would take it and say bye-bye.
He's a Man United fan as well. He's a huge United fan. So
this is football.
Money talks, mate.
Well. Money does talk.
I agree with Solo. I really think that the current state of Barcelona, nobody wants to go to Barcelona. Barcelona are in free fall right now. They are not doing well. They are genuinely not even probably the top 4 best teams in La Liga right now. They are unbelievably bad. They have so many internal issues that they need to sort out. I don't think going and buying somebody like a Marcus Rashford, he's going to have to take time to assimilate. He's going to have to take time to get used to the culture, the language. I just don't think that's going to be a Barcelona sign, regardless of the price, regardless of how good Rashford is. I just don't think Barcelona would be the team that would go to.
So I'm going to just interrupt. So sorry, Mike. Let me just quickly. I'll come to you because I want your opinion on this as well. Barcelona are one of the best, if not one of the biggest teams in world football. Regardless of what state of affairs they're in, they are never going to be a team that just drops off the face of the earth. They will sort their mess out. Rashford come in is a statement of intent. Whether or not he's an actual Barcelona player, you can kind of, I don't know what sort of you call players who are Barcelona players, but if they offer him a certain amount of money, it's the actual prestige. Now, I know Man United is one of the biggest clubs in the world as well. But if somebody wants to, let's say, enhance their football, Barcelona, Real Madrid, those are the 2 places that I think most people want to go to. Now, again, he is a youngster, fairly young. He is a Manchester born. But that opportunity at 23 to go to Barcelona, regardless of whether they're in free fall or not, they'll get it right. It's not like we're talking about Arsenal here. You've got Man United, you've got Oli at the wheel as well. Is Oli the long-term prospect to bring success to Man United? I'm not so sure. So they might have to do something else for the long term. Barcelona, even now, if they offered that to me as a footballer, I'll be snapping your hands off. So, Mike, just on that, for you,
you've pretty much hit the nail on the head there, Sam. I would agree with that. I mean, if you're Rashford, you're in a team and you're playing with the likes of, I don't know, Paul Pogba, Luke Shaw, etc. If Barcelona come in and say, you can play with Luke Shaw or you can come and play with Lionel Messi, who are you going to choose?
But
and also, just to sort of sweeten the deal, here's 400 grand a week. Yeah. What are you going to say?
So for that, talking about Messi there, let's go back to Messi. From January, Messi will not be a Barcelona player.
You think?
How do you know that?
He will not be a Barcelona player.
Messi's not going to stay at Barcelona unless they really change it over that presidential.
He will not stay there.
Election sorted out. He might stay, but he's got his eyes on somewhere else at the moment.
Where's he going to go?
PSG. He will go PSG.
PSG or Man City.
He ain't going to go and play in a Farmers League for PSG.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, he
Okay,
will.
so
He will
we're
stat
just
pad
talking-
trophies.
We're talking about now.
I'll
the
go and leave
Rashford of the world.
Barcelona, the biggest team in the world, and I'll
Yeah.
go and play in the Farmers League in France and play for PSG.
So just like you said, Rashford would go for money. Think about how much money PSG will offer him.
I think you know what I think.
He's made his money already.
Yeah,
Messi's made his money. He's a multi-millionaire.
The difference with PSG and Barcelona is the history. The history of Barcelona, as well as the clout of Barcelona, outdoes PSG. Now, PSG have got money. They've got money behind them. But if you look at them, they're in a league where
they're going to win it all the time.
They're in a league of their own. That's
boring.
It. You may as well go China if he's going to do that and get probably double that money.
But can I just say something just before?
Yes.
You say that about China and stuff, but if you look at PSG right now, PSG have a project. They want to win the Champions League. They have two of the best players in the world right now as their front three, and they actually have a void in that front three which needs to be filled. In my opinion, I believe Messi would go to PSG, not only for the money, but to play with Neymar. Because if you actually realize, if you actually think Neymar actually mentioned in an interview out of completely just thin air that he wanted to play with Messi again before Messi retired, and Mbappe as well. I think that there's something there for Messi at PSG. But sorry to interrupt.
Or Barcelona go for those players and bring them back to Barcelona.
Potentially,
because I don't see Messi, Neymar, Mbappe being in the same team and just gelling. When Neymar was at Barcelona, I don't care what they say. Those three players want to be the main man at their clubs. Ronaldo is exactly the same. He wants to be the main man at his club. Now he can build around him. Messi goes to PSG. You can't tell me he's not going to be the main man, which then does something to the other players. Like I'm not saying they can't entice him to go there, but they may as well have done that at Barcelona, and Neymar couldn't stay for that reason. I think Neymar's going. I personally think Neymar's not going to be at PSG much longer. I don't think Mbappe's going to be there much longer. Maybe another season. I don't think they're long term.
If you've got any aspirations as a footballer, you're getting out of that league and you're going to Spain or maybe the UK. I can't see Mbappe or Neymar playing in the Premier League, but I can see them going potentially back to Spain. Or back to Spain. I can't see it Italy, but and for Rashford, the whole thing with Rashford again, that sort of enticement of Barcelona and what they're about, the clout they have as a club. As I say, go and play for, or continue to play for Man United under Oli, who is not going to win you anything, or go to Barcelona and become a better player because you're surrounded with more talented players, likes of Messi, etc.
Thank you for bringing it back to the actual topic, which was the Barcelona Iron Rashford, because we went off topic a little bit.
We did,
but I can see why we can go off topic, because it's about what our perception is about what players want, what players are actually looking for in their careers. Rashford could stay at Manchester United for life. It's one of the top 3-5 biggest clubs in the world, so he's always going to be at that level of intensity, scrutiny, quality. But are they going to win the big things in the next 5 years?
Sorry to interrupt.
Not with Ollie.
Go on.
So we're talking about obviously Rashford, and we're talking about the transfer to Barcelona. And for me, I'm going to sit there and say it now. So when you look at coming off subject quickly, Steven Gerrard never left Liverpool. All the clubs wanted him. Paul Scholes, all clubs wanted him, never left, because of what the club gave them as a youngster. To put that installed it into them. So for me, looking at Rashford going Barcelona, I can sit here right now and say he will retire at Man United.
So I'll say for you, for one player that's one of your potentially legends, who had a very similar type of thing at Everton, which is Wayne Rooney. He was brought through the ranks at Everton. He obviously went back there at the end of his career. I understand that. But he knew he had to leave Everton. Now, I know Everton's not on the same level as Man United, so I'm not comparing it from that perspective. But in terms of his boyhood team, he idolized that. He grew up there. He was put in there at 15, 16, whatever age it was. He could have said, you know what, let me see if I can stay here and make this as great a team as possible. But he knew he couldn't. He had to go elsewhere. And Man United, he went to. So this is what I'm saying about the Rashford thing. He's at Man United now. But Barcelona, for me, is a long-term perspective. As you're 23, you get a 5-year deal. man, within 5 years, they are going to win something top.
Long
I'm not
project,
talking about just
long way
There's
away.
more
That long
chance of
project.
him
I think you're underestimating the turmoil Barcelona are in at the moment as well.
I
They're
get
this
what
close
you're
to filing for bankruptcy, like very, very recently. So, but
they'll be
Barcelona
safe.
might not be as good as we think in the next. It might take 10 years for Barcelona to get back to where they are.
100% agree that they are in turmoil, but with it's like you've got something for sale. If you've got a product like Barcelona, there's money out there in the world. Let's get it twisted now. There's big people with big money out there, and Barcelona is not going to go down the pan. There's going to be so much people who would want to be behind that. So yes, they might be in political turmoil now, but man, certainly if a big sheikh comes in, big oil money, you could look at someone, even someone like a Amazon man. What's his name? Yeah. They've sort of people with them big monies thinking, you know what, I could do something here. Amazon, I think Amazon should be within Spurs, and I think there might be something down the road, but that's another topic. We've kind of spent a bit of time on this. Let's get on to this one. This might be interesting for us all, since this Arsenal kind of talk after yesterday. Would a move for Christian Eriksen be good for Arsenal? Would it be good for the player?
Oh yes.
Solo, go on then. Take that first.
For me, sort of before Christian Eriksen went to Inter Milan, as a United fan, I sort of thought I wanted him desperately at United. I'm not going to lie, desperate at United, because I thought he could be the difference. Right now, looking at Arsenal are in big trouble, huge trouble. I
love it. I absolutely love it. I'm sorry. I absolutely love it.
It is absolutely.
We have to stay professional, because I could laugh all day at this.
The problem I see with Arsenal is I honestly would give Arteta the opportunity to sort of try and get his ways across.
Yes,
but the players don't look up for it. The players don't look up for it. I was watching a game yesterday, and it was embarrassing. Christian Eriksen would walk in that team and make a massive difference to them.
Go on, Mike. Go on,
you go.
I want him to join for all the wrong reasons. I genuinely believe if he was to join Arsenal, I know what Eriksen's like. Eriksen has to be mentally ready for that challenge, and he needs to be committed to that project. And I know for a fact, if Arsenal chuck 150 grand at him or whatever they want to pay him, I don't think Eriksen is going to be. I don't think he's going to be excited for that project. I don't think he's going to want to play for Arsenal. I think he will just come to pick up a wage, and he knows he's going to get in that starting lineup, because there is no creativity whatsoever in that Arsenal team at the moment. I saw there was a massive space for almost a whole game until Emile Smith-Rowe came on later on in the second half. There was no player covering that space just behind the striker. It was easy for Man City to cover to clean up in defense. So I think Eriksen knows if he was to go, he'd get starting, he'd get minutes, and he'd also get a quite hefty wage. But I don't think he's committed to that project. I don't think he actually cares. If Arsenal were to ever go down, or if they were to finish in 15th, 14th, I don't think Eriksen would care. I think he'd be like Willian. Honest to God, I think he'd be like Willian.
So, Mike, I'm going to come to you about this, but let me just say a little bit on Eriksen. He's 28. He obviously left Spurs to go to Inter. It's not really worked out fantastically well there for him. Obviously, that's the reason why he's looking to leave. We've seen the best of Christian Eriksen, in my opinion. For Denmark, you can see him raising his game. He does what Gareth Bale kind of does for Wales. You know, he raises his game for his national team. But we've seen the best of Christian Eriksen as a Premiership player. If he comes back to Arsenal, I hope he does. I really hope he does, because I cannot see why they would bring in someone like him, who has very similar attributes in terms of his temperament and the way he conducts himself, to Mesut Ozil. They're already paying Mesut Ozil to stay at home and play PlayStation. Christian Eriksen may as well come there and play Xbox, because I do not believe he's going to make that much difference in that team at this moment in January. That would be a major problem for me. Well, no, it would be great, because all I can see is a failure. So, Mike, go on. Sorry, you say what you're going to say on that, because I know you've got a bit to say on the Arsenal side.
No, I kind of echo your thoughts on this. Personally, I can't see Eriksen wanting to go and join a club that is rivals to Spurs, and also a club that's basically they're fighting relegation, whether they like it or not. They're probably just sort of
they're in denial.
They're 5 points off relegation.
They're in denial that they're in a relegation battle, and I can't see Eriksen in an Arsenal shirt myself. I just can't see it. I just can't see it happening.
We'd love
I'll
it
be
to
shocked
happen, but
if he does. I'll be shocked if he does. I mean, I know he needs football because you've got the championships coming up, etc. But there must be other clubs that are going to be sort of keeping an eye on his situation at Inter Milan, and I'm sure there's other big clubs that would happily acquire his services, even if it's on a loan deal to the end of the season. I can't see him at Arsenal.
So Darius, I know you've got a bit more European knowledge than probably most of us here regarding football over in Europe. Do you think Inter Milan are wanting to get rid of him? Is it something that they're desperate to do to get him off the books there?
Yeah. So I've been trying to keep track of Serie A recently because it's for me it's becoming a much better league. It's AC Milan are top of the league unbeaten. They signed Stefano Pioli as a manager and they kept him on and he's done a great job. And if you look at the Inter team, they're second at the moment. They're doing okay. Conte knows what he's doing. He's brought in all of his older players, more experienced players. You can tell that they're out of the Champions League. They did terrible in Europe. They never do well in Europe. He wants to win this league this season because I think he's got one more chance. He was ready to leave last season. He had a fallout with a board. He was ready to leave last season, but I think this season he wants to win that championship. Now that Juventus, obviously with Pirlo not doing as well, Atalanta and Gasperini are having issues as well. So I think the only challenges really are AC Milan and Inter Milan. So I just don't think Eriksen is the kind of player that Conte needs. It's kind of like Ali and Jose, where Eriksen is a creative midfielder and Conte relies on a system that has players all working towards one thing, and that's to get back and have a defensive shape, but to counter quickly as well. So they've got the players to do that now. And Eriksen it's not his fault and it's not Conte's fault. They just saw an opportunity last year. But in my opinion, he was the best creative midfielder for the past 5 years. And they saw an opportunity for 20 million and they bought him, but it just doesn't fit their system. There was a drop off.
His drop off was immense at Spurs, but a few reasons for that. Obviously, we didn't achieve what we set out to achieve. We didn't get the Champions League. He obviously wanted a certain amount of money. We weren't going to offer him that certain amount of money. And I think he just kind of that was it. He reached his pinnacle, I think, at Spurs. But the drop-off, in terms of his attitude towards play, and I've seen players in their last year of their contract, and I'll even use the example of Aaron Ramsey at Arsenal. He played up until the last day. Every single game, he played up until the last day. Eriksen, he down tools.
But doesn't that kind of go with what Solo was saying? As in, Ramsey was at the club for how long? He was at. I don't know if he felt like Arsenal. He owed Arsenal, but Eriksen came into Spurs. I think he gave everything that he needed to give. He had a fantastic season, and I think the reason that he wanted to leave and the reason that his performances dropped so much is because he had that intention of leaving, and that's why I can't really get angry at Eriksen because he never lied about it. He always came out and openly said, "I want a new challenge," and we wanted 100 mil, 80 mil for him. So, like as a player, you're not going to play 100% if you're thinking of your next move, are you?
I'm telling you this as people's footballers, human beings. He may have come out. Lots of things get said. Lots of things come out in the press, and you've got to put them in the right way. I want a new challenge. I want a new challenge. Okay, Daniel Levy says, "Okay, Christian, I know we're paying you 100 grand at the moment. We're going to give you 250." All of a sudden, that wanting a new challenge would probably have changed. It was financial. Yes, I agree that he did want to move on and he did want to obviously win things, but the combination of the two, that ability to win, but also to be, given the money that you want, is such a combination for players. And Tottenham are on the up. It's not like we're on the down. We're on the up. New stadium, training ground complex, etc., etc. So the vision that they could have portrayed to him as, look, we'll pay you this money. That shows us that we are meaningful about what we say. I just don't think Eriksen was a long-term view for the club because of the way that he went about certain things. And I just think that kind of tainted his last year, 18 months at Spurs. So the way Arsenal play as well, I think we could talk about Eriksen all day, but I think we should go on to our last one before we get too much into these things. And this is going to be of interest to you, Solo, as well, but also to the Liverpool and the City people. So this, just before you go on, I'm going to come to you, Solo, first. We missed out on this guy. couple years, 3 years ago.
25 million pounds.
We could have gone for 25 million. Daniel Levy messed about and we didn't. I saw he had talent from them. He wasn't the finished article, but yeah, Solo. So if he came to United, would you be doing somersaults?
I wouldn't say I would do somersault. I think he could be the missing piece in the jigsaw, to be honest with you. Last season, this summer, we were linked with him throughout the whole season, transfer window. I think, if I'm right to say, it was only a 5 million difference that Ed Woodward didn't want to pay.
Is that what it was?
So, yeah, that's all it was, apparently. But at the same time, would I be doing somersault? No, I'm not sure. And part of the reason why is, at the moment, at Man United, I believe we've got a few players there whose head isn't screwed on correctly. And I think if we brought him in, he'd be another part that basically would create more issues at the club. So for his football is good, but his off-the-field antics isn't good enough for me as a United fan. Okay. I think he will create too much drama. At the moment, the club is in the press literally every week for another player.
Okay.
So Jack Grealish, like this season, he's played 14 games, assisted 6 and scored 5. His best season so far. Last season, he played 38 games, only scored 8 goals and assisted only 3. So it's only having one. Well, this season is his only good season. Okay. If I was to look at that now, a lot of people criticize the player I call Messi Lingard, and I'd sit there and just say I'll keep Messi Lingard in instead.
You'd really because he's Lingard over Grealish.
But what I'm trying to say is he's one of the players whose head isn't screwed on, but he's had one good season at Man United. And all of a sudden, everyone was singing how great he was at United, and then all of a sudden he down-tooled. The minute he got his new contract, he down-tooled.
I'm sorry, Solo, but I would be dragging Grealish in, and what's his name? Messi Lingard could do one. How do you think
they'll all be doing TikTok videos?
Go on. I was going to say, I was wanted to start, Darius. How do you think Grealish, if he went to City, would do? Would he fit in? Where would he fit in? And how do you think they'd get the best out of him?
I think I was very, not doubtful of Grealish, but I don't think I recognized Grealish's talent until last season. I think Jack Grealish, if you watch Aston Villa, especially last season, this season they've bought a few more players now to alleviate that stress for Grealish. Not even stress, but that workload for Grealish. But if you actually watched Aston Villa last season, when I say everything went through Jack Grealish, everything went through Jack Grealish. It was like your player, Douglas Luiz, who played centre defensive mid, would get the ball, look for Grealish, and if he couldn't find Grealish, then you try and find another pass. Grealish, for me, is the real definition of a generational talent. Like I think he could walk into any team and do a job, regardless if he maybe wasn't the smartest footballing wise and he couldn't like adjust to tactics and stuff. I think his ability alone would carry him through games, and he'd be almost like an Eden Hazard, where he can just basically create chances himself. He doesn't really need the team to create chances, so it's always going to make him look better than he is. I just think, like we were discussing, Sam, earlier, would Jack Grealish want to be in a club where he's surrounded by talent that's on a similar level to him? Does he enjoy being that guy who everybody has to rely on and revolve around? I think that's why he's not had that big move yet, because he enjoys that being the main guy, and he doesn't really. I think he's on a decent wage. He signed that 5-year contract. He's on about 140 grand a week now. So
again, another boyhood club. But what I'll say to that point, and you're right. As I said, I mentioned to you about Jack Grealish some time ago. I thought when he came up, we could have bought him as Spurs. We should have jumped at the chance. I saw the talent in him. He wasn't then the polished, finished article. To your point about is he a big fish in a small pond? I just have to look at his recent England performances where he is playing with big players, the best in the country, and he's shining. He's looking like the man on that left-hand side. And you've got what you're saying, Darius, about the comparison to Eden Hazard. That's more of a comparison. People are saying, he's more of a Paul Gascoigne. No, Eden Hazard is what I would compare him to. On that left-hand side, you get that ball over to him. It's like the whole of the team thinking, damn, we've got to stop this guy. And he's still getting past 2 players and getting the ball into the right areas. He's creating now. He needs to probably get a few more goals. And if he was to do that as what Eden Hazard did, I just believe that this guy could go on and be one of the best players that we've seen in this country for a long time. I believe he's that good. I believe his talent is that high that if he was able to, step up into another team, let's say a Liverpool,
it's only going to be him that prevents him from reaching that level, isn't it? It's like he is good enough to play for any team genuinely in the world. He's only 24 years old.
25. He's 25.
25. And he's only, let's be honest, he came into the Prem when Aston Villa came up a couple of years ago and they went straight back down. But nobody really were paying attention to Jack Grealish. His real first season in that Premier League was last season. And he was a shining character in that Aston Villa team. Yeah. If they didn't have him, 20th place down back in the Championship. And we can all agree on that he was the main guy that kept them up. And I think he now knows I could stay here and probably be a legend and probably be one of the best players ever for Aston Villa. Or if it was me, I would keep them up this year. They're doing well. If they're not going to push for that top 4, then I'd get my move to another club. And I would prove to myself and prove to everybody that he is one of the best players. Like you said, one of the best players in England.
Yeah. Go on, sorry. Go on, say your piece. I want to ask Mike.
I was going to say, 100% right what you're saying there, Darius, about him could be like the next big thing in English football. My only issue with him is it's almost like falling off the wagon. And for me as a United fan, that's why my concern is. I love him at United. I wouldn't say turn him down at United. But my issue is him falling off the wagon with his antics.
Okay.
That is it. Football reason. No football reason why. That's the only reason why. Footballing wise, he's great.
I'll ask Mike a question then. If he was to go to Liverpool, how would that make Liverpool as a force in European football? So imagine Jack Grealish along with all the other players that they've got. If they kept Mane and they kept Jota and they kept Salah and they kept Firmino and you add Jack Grealish to that, you tell me what would be, because I'd be
domination.
Scared. I would be scared.
There wouldn't be a team that would be able to handle them from an attacking point of view. I'd struggle to find it. You'd have to spend probably touching close to $1 billion to get the sort of players to even compete against the likes of Liverpool in the Champions League, because there wouldn't be a team that would be able to, especially like Premier League, there wouldn't be a team that would be able to handle that attacking.
That's nuts.
That attacking
they could outscore teams, couldn't they? Even if they concede 3 a game, just score 6.
But
just think about
I can't see him going to Liverpool.
He won't.
I don't know. I actually think that I could see him going, but like you said, it would be as a replacement to either Salah or Mane. You wouldn't see all 3 of them there. I think the new front 3 for Klopp could be a combination. Like I'm saying, obviously, Haaland. I think Haaland's going to go to City, but if Firmino goes, I could imagine Klopp rebuilding that front 3 and it being Jota, Grealish, Haaland. Could you imagine that?
Oh,
like, I can imagine that. You sell Salah or Mane, you're going to get 100 mil. You can afford to pay for those players. Yeah. So I just think, I could see him going to a big club, but one of the other big players are going to have to leave before he comes in, and that's for any of the clubs, I think.
I can see him going City, really.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh God, I'm just getting scared thinking about any of these.
It's nuts. I'm telling you,
how good he is.
If Jack Grealish goes to United, if Jack Grealish goes to Liverpool, or he goes to City, I'm done. I'm telling you, I'm done. Because even at United, the front players that you lot have got, it's frightening. You got Martial, you got Rashford, you've got Greenwood, you've got Cavani. You've then got Bruno, you've got Van der Beek in there. If you kept Pogba, I know Pogba's a bit of a debate.
But then you get money for Pogba if you sell him.
But just listen to that as a front lineup, and you add Jack Grealish to that.
And again, like you said, it's
about the Man United shirt.
I hope we don't.
Yeah, I can't see it.
The problem is, go on, Mike.
I was going to say I could see him linking up at City with likes of Foden. If they got that sort of English contingent at City, because they have got as like De Bruyne, I could see that as a more appealing attacking threat than Man United's. And if Grealish went to City, I could see him being one of the main stars there. I think he'd put De Bruyne in his shadow, because I think he would have to. I think he would realise from a footballing perspective, if he goes to these big clubs, he's then got to step it up another level and actually
100%.
show everyone what he's truly about, because he has the ability. I mean, from a natural ability perspective, I would put him up there as probably the closest thing we've had since Paul Gascoigne. He will fall off the wagon, but then you look at George Best, you look at Paul Gascoigne, they all fell off the wagon. But you put a ball at their feet, even if they were drunk, they'd still do magical things with it, and that's part and parcel of someone of that caliber.
I don't even think Jack Grealish is that bad. I think
he's not really.
He has a few stories, but then there's a lot of players that have a few stories come out.
Old, like he's young,
24, 25. Like you were saying, Darius, it's a madness that a player of that level at that age goes to one of them teams. And I said, I wish 3 years ago, I wish that we'd taken him, but I know that that's now way gone. That's gone.
Oh, yeah.
We ain't getting him as a Spurs.
So Mike, like touched on, you were saying about England thingy at Man City, but you only got Foden and Sterling.
Yeah, but it gives them a platform to then attract further young English talent, isn't it? If Pep looks at that talent and think, right, okay, we've got Sterling, got Foden, if we got Grealish, all of a sudden the players could see it as, well, actually, yeah, that's quite attractive. Look at the players that they've got there. I've got a chance. If I'm an English footballer, I have a chance of going to Man City and getting into that first 11.
So Darius,
that's the way I see it.
I'm going to ask Darius a question. Do you think that City are maybe rebuilding around a more of an English type British core? Because if you look at Foden, you got Sterling there. If they added someone like Grealish, that's a core of English talent. And they can afford to buy it. That's what I'm saying, because they can afford to go out and put 80 million down on Jack Grealish. And then they've got a real core of players in there who are young or youngish. And for the future, building on that for Man City, I think that's where they want to go.
They've got Nathan Ake as well, haven't they?
Nathan Ake.
Yeah.
I think he's Dutch though, isn't he? Is he
English?
He came through
the Dutch national team. It's a difficult one.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
So
what you were on that, I think I don't like to talk about, like, when you talk about football, I like to talk about just football and the football team. But obviously there's politics and there's outside politics. I think with the Brexit rules and everything, I do think that that's going to have an impact on signing foreign players and the even more importance of having British players in your team, because it's already important to have a British player. You can see that when I'm seeing that Harry Winks has got a value of 50 million, I'm thinking that can't be because of his footballing ability, can it? Like he's good, but he's not 50 million players because he's British. So I do agree with what you're saying. I do think that a lot of the big teams and just a lot of teams in general are going to try and keep within the academies and keep within the country, just because I think they're going to legally have to. But
finances as well. I think finances,
financially
you
as well.
can build from your club, but as I said, with City, it's a little bit different because they have got almost limitless funds. But this
is what I was going to say. Like, I just think that with City's ownership and their project, I think City have one thing in mind right now. City have done everything. Obviously, they're not that big historical club like your Liverpools and Arsenals, but you can't buy history. Like, you have to create history. So in 50 years' time, if City have won 20 championships, then obviously they're going to be one of those big clubs. So right now, I think City have focused solely on winning that Champions League. And you ask yourself the question, can Jack Grealish help them win the Champions League? I think that's an easy answer for everybody. So that's why I think City will be in. I think that's why City are interested in all these players. I don't think City are necessarily bothered about the project and the logistics of things. I do believe they have that in mind, but City are very smart. They find loopholes within systems so easily. I mean, look at what they've done, and they've not really got in trouble. So I just think that City are just looking to win that Champions League as soon as possible. As soon as possible.
I 100% agree. Look, guys, we could really do this for a long time. I think we have done it. It's gone over more time than I actually thought, but it's been really good because I've enjoyed talking about players that you and this is all about thinking, what would they be like? How would they fit in? What skill set? And as I said, Grealish for me is a talent. But people out there, I want you all to press that like button, subscribe, share, all the rest of it. We need to get these numbers up. So like, very important for us, FTB Sports. Guys, I'm going to wrap this up now, but thank you very much, all of you, for appearing today. We have various shows coming up on FTB Sports. Look out for all these guys. Look out for Mike. Look out for Solo. Look out for Darius. This is Sam, FTB Sports Daily Transfer News. We'll see you again soon. See ya. Bye. See you guys.
Cheers. Bye.